Hey guys, Vazzy back here, and in today's video we are going to be going over my NHL playoff predictions and then going through a simulation here in EA NHL 24. I can't believe it is finally time for the Stanley Cup playoffs. We have a lot of awesome matchups to look at here today, so with that being said, let's jump into it and start with round number 1. So format-wise, I decided to go about this a little bit differently. I was going to do it on the actual NHL playoff predictions website, but it wasn't coming out good and it wasn't getting the results I wanted, so we're going to be going through this here in NHL 24. Whenever we go through a round, I'm just going to create a new simulation and put those new matchups in there so you guys can see who my predictions are and what the matchups are looking like. But with that being said, let's get into our first matchup here today. We have the Dallas Stars versus the Vegas Golden Knights. This one is a very, very tough one to start it out with. Dallas being one of just the best teams in the NHL. But how can you bet against the defending Stanley Cup champions, that being the Vegas Golden Knights? Both teams did have very good years this year. Obviously, for Vegas, they did sneak in the wild card position, have been dealing with injuries and all that. I'm not sure if Stone is coming back. I know Hurdle's been back for at least a couple of weeks now. I think I'm gonna go with Dallas on this one. I could see this going either way and it wouldn't shock me. But for my prediction, I'm going with the Dallas Stars to beat the Vegas Golden Knights. Going on to the second matchup here, we have the Winnipeg Jets taking on the Colorado Avalanche. Again, another very, very good matchup here. I'm from Winnipeg. I'm definitely going to be taking in some of the whiteout parties. I don't know if I'm actually going to go in and watch the games. Tickets might be a little bit expensive for that, but I'll definitely be at the whiteout parties. But if I had to give my prediction, I'm going to go with the Colorado Avalanche. And it's not because I want them to win, but Winnipeg in the playoffs, I was going over some stats not too long ago. When's the last time Winnipeg's even won a home whiteout game? It's been a very, very long time. For whatever reason, when the playoffs come around, they just don't play their A game, and you can't afford to have that versus the Colorado Avalanche. Again, I want Winnipeg to win and go on a deep run, but I can't see them going past Colorado. So moving on now to the Vancouver Canucks and the Nashville Predators. Don't really have much to say here. I don't see any way that Vancouver doesn't win this series. Again, good on Nashville for getting into the playoffs. No one really had them at all even making the playoffs. They had that, 16, 17 game win streak or whatever it was in the season. Good on them, but they're not going to be beating Vancouver here in the first round. So now moving on from Vancouver and Nashville to our last Western Conference series here, we have the Edmonton Oilers taking on the Los Angeles Kings. I believe this is the third straight year that these two teams are meeting, which is very interesting in itself. Edmonton winning both of the prior years, and I think I do have to give the edge to Edmonton again. Again, not that LA is a bad team or anything like that, but just having McDavid and Draisaitl in the playoffs, those two are absolute game changers, and I'm going to go with Edmonton to win here. So just based off of my predictions, that would give us a matchup of Dallas and Colorado and Vancouver and Edmonton in the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Now let us move over to the Eastern Conference side of things. We're kicking things off with the Battle of Florida. We have my Tampa Bay Lightning versus the Florida Panthers. I cannot wait to see this series. It's going to be awesome to watch. Whenever these two teams play, it's great hockey. It's a lot of fun. Unfortunately, I don't see Tampa winning this. Again, I think beat them twice in a row here in the playoffs, and really it could go either way. I don't think it's a slam dunk that Florida's going to win, but I do have Florida coming out with the slight edge in round 1. I hope I'm wrong, but yeah, I'm going to go with the Panthers on this one. Now moving on to the series that a lot of you guys are probably waiting to hear my prediction on. We have the Boston Bruins and the Toronto Maple Leafs one more time. This is going to be absolutely insane to watch. I can't wait to watch these games as well. I don't know, it's so hard. Again, either team here can really win this. I'm gonna go with Toronto. That's gonna be it's a tough one to say. I'm gonna go with the Leafs on this one. I know Boston's outplayed them in the regular season and everything like that, But Toronto getting over their playoff winless streak in the first round or whatever last year, I think they are going to go on to face the Florida Panthers again in round 2 of a rematch for next year. So again, this one could really come back to bite me, but I'm going to go with the Leafs knocking off the Bruins in round 1. And then going on to the last 2 Metro Division series here. Both of these ones are more or less pretty clear-cut of who I think at least is going to win. I'm going with the New York Rangers knocking off the Washington Capitals. Again, good for the Caps getting in. It really did come down to the wire there between the Wings, the Flyers, and the Penguins, but hey, the Caps got in, good on them, but I don't see them taking out the New York Rangers. And then between the New York Islanders and the Carolina Hurricanes, I think New York could actually maybe surprise some people, but I don't see them knocking off the Hurricanes. I think the Islanders could definitely take a couple of games, but overall I don't see them winning this series. So that's my predictions for round 1. Let's move on to round number 2. Alright, so kicking things off here, we have the Colorado Avalanche taking on the Dallas Stars in round number 2. For me, this one is a little bit more straightforward than I think more people would probably think. I'm going to be going with the Dallas Stars here. Again, I really do like the Avalanche, obviously winning the Cup here just a couple of years ago. They have McKinnon, they have Rantanen, they have Makar. They have all the pieces there, but I just think the depth over all of the Dallas Stars is just going to be a little bit too much for the Avalanche to handle. So I am going to be going with the Dallas Stars to knock off the Colorado Avalanche here in round number 2. Then going on to the all-Canadian matchup here of the Vancouver Canucks taking on the Edmonton Oilers. This, if it does happen, will be a great series. I'm sure it'll get a lot of eyes on it from Canadian viewership, that's for sure. I think I'm going to end up going with the Oilers, McDavid, and Draisaitl. Again, this one could really go either way as well. I think it's going to really depend on Demko's health, how he's playing going into the playoffs. I know he hasn't played in a little while here, so if he is on his A game, again, this could go either way. But for my predictions here, I'm going to go with Connor McDavid in the Edmonton Oilers. So there's my West predictions for the second round over with. Let's move over to the East. So we have a rematch of last year, the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Florida Panthers. Again, this was awesome last year. It was a ton of fun. I think if I'm going to have to go with a prediction here, I think I'm going to go with Florida, unfortunately. I'm sorry, Leafs fans. Again, you guys got out of the first round. You beat the Bruins, who have just been hanging over you guys for so long, and that's awesome. But I just can't see the Leafs knocking off this Panthers team. Last game of the season, or second last game of the season, sorry, the Panthers just came out. They were just absolutely dominating the Leafs. And yeah, I don't know. Playoff hockey is a totally different animal, but still, I just have the Panthers coming out. Overall, their team is just so deep and so stacked. So, going with the Panthers over the Leafs, and then looking at the Rangers and the Hurricanes. This would be actually a really good series as well. A lot of really good matchups potentially in this year's playoffs. I think the Rangers probably have it. They just have such a deep team as well. It's tough. I do like the Hurricanes quite a lot on paper. They have an absolutely stacked roster as well. But I think if I had to choose one or the other, I would go with the New York Rangers. So that's my predictions for round number 2. Let us move on to round number 3. Alright, and we are down to 4 teams left here in my predictions. So let's start things out in the Western Conference. We have the Dallas Stars taking on the Edmonton Oilers here in the conference semifinals. I think I'm going to go with the Edmonton Oilers here. Again, this would be a very good matchup. I know I keep saying that, but just so many potential great matchups in this year's playoffs. I just have a feeling that this will be the year that McDavid just ends up carrying this team and just does not let them underachieve once again. So I'm going to be going with the Oilers here to advance to the Stanley Cup final. On the east side of things, I think the Rangers overall, again, both teams are so deep, they're so stacked, but I think I'm going to go with the Rangers. I don't know, just a gut feeling of how the two teams match up. Again, it wouldn't be a shock either way. But I'm going to be going with the New York Rangers to knock off the Florida Panthers to give us a Stanley Cup final of the Edmonton Oilers versus the New York Rangers. just thinking of this matchup on paper, think of what the insane viewership would be for the NHL. Honestly, I bet they wish this would be a Stanley Cup final possibility. You get so many people from Canada watching, you get so many people from the States watching. It would just be an awesome matchup to see these two teams in the final. So who am I going to go with? Am I going to go with the Edmonton Oilers to end Canada's streak of Stanley Cup-less wins, or am I going to go with the New York Rangers to end the President's Trophy curse and win their Stanley Cup? I'm going to go with the Edmonton Oilers. I know that may surprise some people out there. I don't know. I just have a feeling. I just have a feeling that McDavid this year, after all the years of failure, just not having the success that he's wanted to have, the teams wanted to have, something just keeps telling me to watch out for the Oilers this year and that this could finally be it for them. So, with that being said, that's enough talking probably for me in this video. I'm going to pass it over to EA. I'm going to run the sim for them and see who comes out on top here in NHL 24. Again, thanks for watching this video, guys. Definitely let me know who do you guys think is going to win the Stanley Cup in the comments down below, and I'll see you all in the next video. you.